Let's see. All right, it's still working. Gail, what's good with it, man? It's your boy Judah, your boy Judah Ken, checking in, Milestone Radio. You know, looking at my clock, man, I had intentions to start earlier to give, my regular time frame, but I gotta. It'll be a little shorter today, but it's more of a check-in. Um, Probably inspirational message, just some words of wisdom, stuff of that context. Other than that, all is well, and I hope that all is well with everyone else. Um, Also, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have my classes. So, my class starts at 4 p.m. for the academic advising course, and that is about 5.5 hours, 5 hours and 40 minutes. It's crazy because this professor, much respect to her, Dr. Bolin, black woman, she goes about, she's the one that goes the most, when it comes to the time of being closer to that time frame. Like I done been in here about 8:30, 8:45, like man, let me turn this camera off. You know what I'm saying? Be hitting them cameras and at this dinner snack. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I wanted to get on here today and kind of go into like you know um, just talk about how we work on our responses. Socially. When it comes to with dealing with people. Everybody. You know what I'm saying? And this is I don't really feel like it's necessary to validate or give the disclaimers, but some people, sometimes people can feel like what I'm saying, things are about them. You know how it is. You get on social media and get to talking about something, or if you don't like postings or something, you changed, or you know there's an issue. So you know psychological issues that people deal with. But nah, this is just a general. It's just more so advice. Like even advice that I take. And on a day to day basis. I can honestly tell you on testimony like these things work. You know what I'm saying about keeping positivity, keeping the fruits of the spirit, keeping that good energy. Meekness, kindness, patience. Being a humble person. You know, refraining from anger. You know, um, Self-regulation is something that I try to tell a lot of people about. When it comes to just the way we respond, how we used to be. I'm out the hood, and you know, I wouldn't say that I've always had some type of you know attitude or was always overly aggressive, Mr. Tuffy, like a lot of people portray themselves. I was always cool and humble, but my body is spasming, so I'll be having it's real tense right now, so I'm trying to get it to calm down while I'm speaking. But at the same time, I was always cool, but when I needed to go there, I would go there. And when that anger comes out, it comes out. I've seen a lot of people deal with certain situations and respond without thinking, you know, and that's that mistake that people have gotten incarcerated for, relationships have ended, you know, things that come with a lot of consequences. Whether it's losing a job, from insubordination, or, having your Negro moment on an employee that didn't know you, you know what I mean? But sometimes, like I said, self regulation is when you consider the outcomes. You think about it in your mind. You have to. I hate when people say, like, oh, I ain't got time to do all that. Then you have not grown. There's no maturity there. You know, I see maturity in a lot of individuals, the way they speak, the way they speak, the older generation, my generation, and you can tell the difference, you know. But self-regulation, like I said, you consider the outcomes, and then you consider the positive outcomes also. Like, man, if I do this, it can be good. It can be better. We can be better. There could be smiles. You know what I'm saying? There could be peace. There could be promotions. There could be another day. All the above. You know, I got a lot of scriptures. And yeah, I said I got scriptures. So if you got a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you, because there will be a lot of times where I will correlate a scripture with a message of what um, I'm putting out there, to support it. Same way we use references and citations in our essays or academic writing. So, if you college students, you know what I'm talking about. Research studies, you know what I'm talking about. But the thing is, a lot of what I'm talking about, it's this is biblical game. This it comes from that. You know what I mean? I mean, I can say self-regulation, but the whole time, the Bible tells you a fool utters all his mind. A fool utters all his mind, but a wise man keeps it in till afterwards. That's Proverbs 29:11. And the afterwards part, people, I mean, it's up for interpretation. It's like, do I say it later? No, that's not necessarily the case. It depends on the scenario, you know. But like I said, with the self-regulation, it's about considering your options. So with self-regulation, you're not saying nothing. You're not going, bite your tongue, relax, and then say what you should say if necessary. But keep your integrity, keep your dignity, your self-respect, you know, keep your fruits, the good fruits that keep you as a good person. You know what I mean? Don't, you know, uh, filthy communication. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that to be a habit. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. In Corinthians 15:33. Excuse me for that pause. I was looking at, like I said, I got scriptures, so I'm looking at, it wasn't a necessary order, you know what I'm saying? But it lightweight was, but you know, since I'm speaking in a certain way, a certain pattern, I'd rather touch on it if it relates and supports what I'm saying. But yeah, evil communications, man, corrupt good manners. It changes you, keeps anger in you, keeps you vile. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be that. And it's not a positive influence. It's a lot of people that I know that I really don't communicate with, and it's not because I'm better than anyone. I don't think I'm better than nobody, but I'm not going to stoop down mentally to engage in unnecessary topics that it really ain't right for my mind. You know what I mean? You know, plasticity is when your brain grows from acquiring more knowledge, and knowledge is good. It's wisdom. Wisdom is from God, a gift from God. You know what I'm saying? The Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying? And every day I want it. But to get wisdom, you also have to be right. So like I said, you don't want to have negative communication. You don't want to think or say evil things. You don't even want to use bad language. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people, I curse all the time. Yeah, I got my days. Slip out something every once in a while, but not like it used to be. It's progress, it's growth. Everybody has their moments. Turn up. Yeah. But but on the basis of knowing that, I got a daughter that's listening. I don't want to be busting her ears, and there comes a time where she starts slipping out the B bombs and the F bombs and all the above. And we don't want that. I've seen the outcome of that. Small things. Sometimes they can have big outcomes. And that's unfortunate when it comes to like lies or just the influence socially. For a person. In the community. You know what I'm saying? The way you might do more. Bless you, but but that's the thing though. Like I think about just the whole communication, and I feel like it brings positive energy, man, and it also keeps you in a blessed mindset. You know, you read your book. Yeah, like I said, if you agnostic, you atheist, that's on you. Really don't care too much for that. That day will come for you where reality may set in. But I think you need to get right and figure it out. But as for myself, I love my book. I love the Bible. And I love the things that I learn from it that keep me in check. Like it's a lot of things that I don't even be wanting to see or really hear. I mean, it's music, you got your rap here and there, but a lot of the music that's going on today, all that, 304 talk, or whoredom, I don't be wanting to hear that. The STD music, don't want to hear that at all, you know. And same thing, like things on television. You don't want to see that because you don't want to mess your eyes up. Things is, you be getting your eye busted watching TV like, oh man, hold on, stop it, change the channel. Respectfully, like sometimes we throw on Pluto and put it on the Murder She Wrote channel or the Star Trek, the Next Generation, and just let it play out. All reruns. Like, I'm cool. I'm going to leave it on this channel all day. You can't go wrong with Dr. Picard, Captain Picard. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, everybody, overall, all I'm saying is I want you to try your best to, self-reflect, self-regulation, dictate better responses so that we not out here, you know, um, reaping what we sow. You know what I mean? If we out here putting out anger, we gonna get anger in return. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, Colossians 3, 8 through 10. But now you also put off all these things: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another, seeing that you have put off the old man with his deeds, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. And like, real talk, I respect that. I'm not trying to, you're not trying to give nobody the wrong vibe. You're not trying to put out the wrong message. You want to be a positive influence, positive example, you know, inspiration, all the good things. You don't want to be oh, he's the gangster. I want to be like him. I want to be a gangster too. Or he go hard on the females. I want to go hard on the females too. Like, nah, you know, one man, one woman, and they come together as one in a union under God, not triplets, not quadruplets, none of that polygamy talk. I'm not into that, so you know, it's not my thing. So I'm not, can care less, But kudos to everybody in what they do. But my point is that I threw that out there as far as the examples of what you want to be: a good man, a good husband, a good father, a good brother, a good homeboy. And this is in the same context for my sisters: a good wife, a good sister, you know, a good homegirl, a good mother, a good daughter, likewise a good son. So we got to be them examples that speak with wisdom, speak with knowledge, educate when we speak. You want to make sure when you speaking, every time you do speak to somebody, you teaching and they learning from it. Like, man, I was talking to bro the other day and it was just nothing but like education. And I'm not talking about making them feel like when they spoke to you, you threw some random book in their head, but it's just the context of they see articulation, so they learning that language matters. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge. Because they're still professors to this very day. When I'm listening, I'm like, man, I want to speak like that. I started late though, but I'm good. I can articulate, so it's all good. But still, um, you want them to feel like when they was done talking to you, you planted a seed, and they motivated to do something, whether it's go to school, finish college, get a trade. You want them to feel inspired by that. You want them to feel like, now I know how to respond. I didn't think about that until you told me. So now me and her, we're cool. Or, me and my family, we're cool. We reconciled our differences, stuff of that nature. So, I just wanted to throw that out there. It's 4 o'clock, so my class started. You know, I'm gonna upload it. Stay focused, man. Stay blessed. I'll tune in very soon. Waiting for my computer too. They didn't get here yet, but it's all good. Stay focused. Stay blessed. One love.